Наоборот, Bueno, Ага. Не понимаю. Да, 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 да. Может и есть. Раскидался, сейчас вот так вот сказал. Не знаю. Вот вообще просто ГВС, ничего там, да, не знаю. Ну, за вас плачу, значит, да. Ладно. Главное, что это твоя цель? Когда по-мужски так жаловаться, сидеть, жаловаться на жизнь, это да. Да. Потом гневаться и кого-нибудь еще. Гневаться. Нет, сам. Вот. Да. Нормально люди живут, что-то, блин, все нормально. Вот эти денежки, не знаю, я сам. Наркотик. Надо перевести. Чути. Так, помогаете? ЖКХ. Ага. врач, врач, врач. Вроде. Ой, не спасибо. Спасибо. Не спасибо. Ну, это и так. Вот, ну, должно быть. Да, да, ну, высшее обеспечение, сказать. Is it okay, hopefully? Thank you. Thank you. Good. Вариант. Нет, вот этого не будет. Всего лишь не вывод из отдела. Вообще я голодный. Наверное, вот это есть, наверное. Типа этого. Ну, это есть. Да. А, нет, плохо.
Hello, Corey here from the Box Scholar channel. Thank you for joining me today. I'd like to thank everyone for viewing my videos, especially my faithful subscribers on YouTube. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't be doing this. So I really thank you for your support. This video is a very interesting one. It's a tutorial on a technical exercise often called the Tausig exercise, named
So before we start to play the scale, we really need familiarity with the key signature, knowing what the scale looks like on the keyboard, how it feels under the hand. Because any mental stress about what note is coming next is going to lead to physical tension as well. Now, when I introduce a faster scale, what I like about is that it's not individual fingers playing more quickly. And what I mean by that, we don't think about each finger having to move more quickly and playing in this way. Because you see, each finger is looking quite tense. So I use a technique that I call the Mexican wave. Now, I'm not a football fan, but those of you who have been to football matches will know that sometimes what the fans do is one after the other, they put their hands down in a wave. And so across the stadium, you get this sense of a wave of all their hands go down one after the other. And so we use this idea with our fingers. So before I want to play 5 fingers really quickly, what I'm going to do is lift all the fingers and then just let them all trickle down one after the other. It's like drumming on the table. We can all do that really quickly. So if we can drum on the table really quickly, it means we can also play a scale quickly. So if I want to play 5 fingers in a scale, I'll just do this. And I might combine it also with a little bit of a parachute. And you see how easy it is to play fast. The fingers don't have to work any more strongly, any more quickly than they would have done in any other way. So when we're playing a scale a little bit more quickly, it's not really our fingers that have to move more quickly, it's our arm that moves a little bit more quickly. So I have this exercise which I just call the flowing arm exercise. And we start quite slowly. And so on. So you see what was happening there? Each time I added a note, my arm had to move one note further. And so my arm started to flow a little bit more quickly. So when you're teaching faster scales, encourage the arm to move more quickly, not the fingers. So the arms take each finger into position. Think in hand position so you can move quickly up the keyboard. And it will really help if you parachute down into the first note of each group, because that will keep the wrist nice and soft. And then you'll start to feel a really beautiful, flowing, natural, rounded movement develop in the arm. When we play a scale at a fairly steady tempo, we play it fully legato. So we join all the notes together in this way. And really make that legato. Now, when I'm playing a little bit faster, I may not have time to do that. So what you can do instead is just slide off the notes. Now, for instance, say I'm doing that E flat scale coming down. Instead of really doing a full legato here, what I will do is slide off the 3rd finger. Now you see when I do it fast, because it's fast, the listener doesn't notice any gaps between the notes, but it means that you can keep a really smooth flowing motion. And going the opposite way, what you'll find you'll do is just slide off the thumb a little bit early. Now, it's very important not to jump off the note, so you don't do this. You just think of releasing the note just a tiny bit earlier. Because it's fast, nobody will notice the slight gap between the notes.
Очень горячий. Ребенок. Осторожно.
Hello and thank you for watching. This video is a tutorial and a playthrough for Boris Berlin's Essential Daily Exercises, set number 6. This is my favorite piano technique book, and you see the cover here. It looks like this. JB, Jennifer Bowman. No one better take this. At any rate, this is set number 6, and we are going to start with a tutorial. And the first exercise is called for the independence of fingers. We've been gradually building this bridge here and stretching out to maintain the shape and also maintain a firm portion of the hand right here on the first knuckle, not letting that cave and get flat. So we're going to be quite spread out for this one. Thumb here on C and the top of the hand up here on B. So if your hands are not, you cannot reach an octave, you can just do this at whatever you can reach, whatever the largest interval you can reach between your thumb and pinky is what you should do. If you can reach an octave, this is a great, great practice. So we're going to lock in the thumb, and the fingers on the top are fingers 4 and 3. The goal is to try to maintain a nice bridge here, not letting that cave under, but rather keep it firm and keeping the fingers firm here as you group them in groups of 4. See where those accents are. We're going to try to group those together. So 4 notes, then feel it down, then moving up. See how my wrist is moving up just a little bit? Trying to get more notes in one physical gesture. Here's exercise number 2. Try to group those together. So 4 notes, then feel it down, then moving up. See how my wrist is moving up just a little bit? Trying to get more notes in one physical gesture. Here's exercise number 1 from the side views. We're going to get set, stand up. Notice the nice bridge shape and the nice firm first knuckle. Here is exercise 2 for relaxation. You want to focus on the full finger pad for this exercise. So we're going to be kind of rolling up the pad of the finger. And it is finger number 2, starting on C. Gentle lifts with the wrist as you roll up. Your crescendo towards the top. And notice I'm doing just one motion. I'm not pressing off later. It's one fluid motion. So roll up, move. Roll up, move. And then when you move, you're resetting your wrist underneath so it can pull through the key. Here's exercise 2, side view. Not too low when they're coming underneath. Just flex with the wrist. Here is exercise 3 for stretching. This one I want you to take very slowly because we're working on this portion of the hand right here, and you just want to be really gentle with that. Also, notice the angle of the hand. I'm not setting up straight like this. I'm setting up at an angle to make this a little bit easier as we navigate through these flat keys. So this will be played more on the tip portion of the finger pad. The previous exercise was the full first joint, if you will. Now we're going to just do the tops. And we're going to start with fingers 3 and 4. We're going to move between those 2 fingers. Hand at an angle. Here we go. So it's down on the triplet. Down, touch, touch. Down, touch, touch. Down, touch. here is exercise number 4. This one is a little bit confusing if you're just looking at it on the music notes here on page 14. So what you're going to do, what we're doing in this exercise is we're locking in this portion of the scale when we have 2, 3 in a C major scale and the thumb passes under to F, so D, E, F. That's the portion of the scale we're working on. And so what we're trying to do is kind of lock in the hand shape. You see how it's kind of a little half circle here? So we're going to do that with fingers 3 and 2, and then the thumb is kind of out here. And the half circles, we have D and E here, and then the thumb there. So we're locking in that frozen position right there. So we're going to start with 2 and 3. You have the D's a little bit further out, this is a little closer to the black, and then this is underneath. Try to relax the rest of your hand, and we'll do that one more time. Now, the next fingering is 1 and 2. So 2 is going to stay there on the D, 1 is going to stay there on the F, and then we're going to lock in this middle part. It can be confusing when you first look at the music here. And then finally, our final fingering is 3 stays there on the E, 1 stays there on the F, and then we're locking in finger 2. I'll try to keep the bridge nice and firm, nice handshake. Just do that one more time. And repeat. Then 1 and 2. Watching your hand, listening to what you're doing. And then holding 1 and 3. Here's exercise 4, side view. Just want you to see the locking in. Same position. 1, 3. Exercise 5 for octaves. In the previous exercise, we worked on the thumb being the solo note. Now we're going to have the pinky be the solo note. So we'll alternate between octave and pinky. And so what I want you to think about as you're going through this exercise is letting the octave be the one that's stretched out, and then when you have just the pinky, let your hand relax and squeeze in a little bit. So we've got a stretch, then a relax, then a stretch, then a relax. Stretch, relax, stretch, relax. And then back down. Stretch, relax, stretch, relax. Here is exercise 6 for trills. It's kind of hard to see the fingering for this, but it's actually finger 2 and 4. So finger 3 is going to be left out of this exercise. So we're going to get used to just having that finger 3 be relaxed while we're working fingers 2 and 4, staying close to the keys. So 2 and 4 are naturally more the same length. So we don't have to angle our hand as much as we would have to for 2 and 3. So it's a little bit straighter. And we are going to start with the down, up, up kind of motion with the wrist. So gentle. 3 is just hanging out there on the black keys. And the groups of 4 notes, it's going to be drop, push off, or drop, lift. You want to give that lift some energy. Same thing, black keys. Now this time we do have to turn at an angle because we don't want to get our second finger way in there. So 3 is going to be here, 4 is going to be here. Here is exercise 7 for the repeated notes. I find it most helpful to think of this one as kind of like a little zigzag, like this. So finger 2 is going to play on the top part of it, and then 1 is on the bottom. And by the way, the numbers for this are 2, 1 for the first measure, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, and then 3, 2. So on the way up, you're going to kind of have a bigger zigzag because there's a lot of space between fingers 1 and 2. On the way down, not so much. So by the way, for this, here is exercise 6 for Trills. Kind of hard to see the fingering for this, but it's actually finger 2 and 4. So finger 3 is going to be left out of this exercise. So we're going to get used to just having that finger 3 be relaxed while we're working fingers 2 and 4, staying close to the keys. So 2 and 4 are naturally more the same length. So we don't have to angle our hand as much as we would have to for 2 and 3. So it's a little bit straighter. And we are going to start with a down, up, up kind of motion with the wrist. So gentle. 3 is just hanging out there on the black keys. And the groups of 4 notes. It's going to be drop, push off, or drop, lift. You want to give that lift some energy. Same thing, black keys. Now this time we do have to turn at an angle because we don't want to get our second finger way in there. So 3 is going to be here, 4 is going to be here. Here is exercise 7 for the repeated notes. I find it most helpful to think of this one as kind of like a little zigzag, like this. So finger 2 is going to play on the top part of it, and then 1 is on the bottom. And by the way, the numbers for this are 2, 1 for the first measure, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, and then 3, 2. So on the way up, you're going to kind of have a bigger zigzag because there's a lot of space between fingers 1 and 2. On the way down, not so much. So they're almost occupying the same spot. If you let your second finger be down here and your third finger be up here, then I think you'll be successful. So let's do that slowly. And by the way, for this, the wrist is not low on this one, it's a little bit higher. So the second finger higher, slightly lower, and on the way down, face looks like this. One more time. So this is up, and finger, back down. Here is exercise number 8 for double thirds. And in this exercise, this is as all of them have been. We're finding our quick position, roll, and then we're going to keep 5 and 3 there. And use your brain power to will fingers 4, 2 to come down at the same time. Big one for the first one. Really listening to see, can you get those sounds exactly together? Part 2, going to 5, 3, be a unit. 4, 2 is a unit. Take it down, roll up. It's really handy to practice this exercise in different positions. You feel how it changes when you're navigating the black keys. Here is exercise 9 for the triads. Great exercise for keyboard geography, just finding that next group of triads as you go up the piano. Slowly, the left hand will roll up, right hand up, the left hand over, right hand under, and then on the way down, right hand will go over, and the left hand will go under. Rolling up the full pad of the hand, one more time, over. I also, when I'm doing these triads, I also will just do it in minor. The theme in the minor. And then the second portion is a roll through of those chords. And I like to think that my wrists are just making a little simple. So continue to circle the other way for practice. Here is exercise number 10 for the 5 fingers. So we get hands set in a nice fuzzy half moon shape. I know in the half moon, the 2 and 3 are kind of close together. Just imagine 3 is the highest point. Now what we're going to do is a wrist dip for the first part. So hands are on the tips, and the wrist is going to roll through and lift. down, and up. You can do this two different ways. You want to have the wrist go down and then rotate back down. You can do it that way. Or you can do it down and way up and then pushing this way. Send through the notes like so. Here is exercise number 11 for skips. Again, super spread out. Start with me up here, the pinky. And we're just going to go between me, go. Just see that keyboard geography. Here is exercise 12 for the chords. This is inversions of a 4-note C chord. So this is going to lock in the fingering for this inversion, 1, 2, 3, 5, 1, 2, 4, 5, and 1, 2, 4, 5. So I like to think about this as down, up, up, up. And we're going to hold this. Notice when I go to the next inversion, we've got this U shape here. We're not going straight, straight, straight. That would cause tension, so we'll have it feel it's a little bit more spread out like this. The other thing about this one is when you are done playing your thumb and you're lifting your wrist up, don't keep your thumb down here. Get your thumb hovering over where it's going to go down again. Down, hover. Here is exercise number 13 for the Tremolos. And this one is interesting because we're going to find our balance, so to speak, at the beginning. So holding finger 3, and then we're in a C, second inversion, triad. Jiggling between. Notice my hands are not coming off the keys, just staying very close to the keys. In the second portion, it's the same thing without holding third finger. By the way, when you see right here in this portion of the music, these are half notes. That means just play the same note that you've just been playing. So we're going to anchor in 4 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, down, 2, 3, 4. Let's repeat. Part 2, same thing without holding the middle finger. And here's exercise 13, side view, locking in finger 3, and then rotating back and forth. And removing finger 3 outside slightly. This is a full playthrough of Boris Berlin's Essential Daily Exercises for Piano. This is set number 6. Start with the right hand and then alternate to the left hand and play through the entire set. So here's exercise 1. We're going to stretch our hands out, get a nice bridge position, and aim to keep the curvature of the hand as we go up all the way 1 octave. So 4, then move up, drop, wrist motions, your hands flexible. A nice firm tone. cancel the other way, down the keyboard. Always focusing on the bridge. My left hand's a little bit harder to do. Not left-handed. See, I'm playing on the tips. Here's exercise 2 for relaxation. Small 5-finger scales using the main finger pad of finger 2. So roll up. No extra motion here. You're playing to the key and you play to it. We'll repeat that one time. Gently lift as you wrist. Left hand, same thing, different angle for the left hand. Keep your fingers firm. Yeah, you feel like you're sinking in a little bit. Here's exercise 3 for stretching with the right hand. We'll set up the angle going this way and just do this one slowly because we're working on this area here. We don't want to stretch that too much. Now the hand is slowly going to rotate the other way. Do that one more time. Slightly shifting. Left hand, same thing. And the hands shifting. A little less control in my left hand. Think about it more. Shifting. Thinking about relaxing my second finger. Here's the passing of the hand in the scales. Exercise 4. Trying to maintain the shape here of those 2 fingers and then the thumb underneath a little bit further out of the keys. Repeat that. Now fingers 1 and 2. Locking in the shape of the crossover. And the last one, 1 through 3. Putting into muscle memory those shapes of the scale. So the left hand is going to be this shape here. What is the angle of the hand? All 3 keys on this one. 2, 1. And 3, 1. Next is number 5 for octaves. We are going to stretch on the octave, relax in between. So stretch, relax, stretch, relax. Back down. We'll do that one more time. This helps you voice your octaves, one note of the octave, getting used to the angle of the hand when it's in stretched position. Left For Triads, crossover, so we'll do one slow and one little quicker. Quick bars. Here's exercise 10 for the 5 fingers, going up and down, up, finger, now we're going to lock down there, no overlap on the top, left hand going up, Some of the notes might fall out of the vision here. Starting on an E, we're spreading out a C chord, so this is mi, do, so, do. Just feeling those notes of that harmony. Let's do it one more time. Touch, touch. Left hand, the bottom note will be out of the view. It's a G or so. 1, 1, 5, 1. Let's do that 2 more times. Just keep your hand very loose and flexible with this one. Here's exercise number 12 for the chords, chord inversions. We'll do it slowly and then a little bit quicker on the repeat. So now get the thumb hovering. 13 for the Tremolos, locking in finger 3. We'll do 2 repeats. Here we go. One more. Now, part 2, we'll do this pretty well. No third finger. Keeping your arm really loose. Left hand, locking here on G. So we'll do this 3 times. 2 more. You want to keep your hands in the keys. 2 and 3. Thank you for watching this tutorial and playthrough for Boris Berlin's Essential Daily Exercises number 6. I find it most helpful to stay on an exercise for 2 to 4 weeks, trying it in several keys. Ensure to watch hands at the piano so they are doing each exercise correctly. I appreciate you watching, and I hope that you will subscribe to my channel for more videos on piano technique. Thanks again for watching.
Очень полезно, да. 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 Гулял-то. Вот ты твою налево, это чё? Да. Да. Зачем? Зачем? Давай нормально будет. Что ты видишь, как с этим? Зачем? Ну да.
Василисе интересно многое. Родителям интересно подарить то, что понравится Василисе. Но как понять, что именно? Подарите индекс-станцию лайв. Всем интересный подарок.
Я прошу тебя помочь им дышать. Я прошу тебя очистить планету для них. Я прошу делать выхлопы водой. Я проти нашу планету.
Hello there, welcome to this very bright video on a few exercises as recommended by List. As some of you may know, I have a long time, and it has always been an idea to share a few of his favourite and my favourite exercises. And since the videos I've done recently, as of the time of recording, have been about finding your natural limits and patience and hand independence, philosophies surrounding the exercises themselves, I've given you a few exercises in those videos, but I just wanted to make one entitled thus, so that you can just focus on these three exercises. I say three-ish because one of them is just a modified. Before I show you what they are, you need to understand the philosophy of exercises. And I actually have an article of technical exercises. What you basically need to realise is that technical exercises never end. And by that, I mean you'll always have to play them. Technical exercises are not something that you necessarily master. You may be able to do some of them very, very well, but they'll always be able, you can always modify the ones that you can do well, and then you'll have to work on those to be able to do those as well. Use them for timing, different tempos, different time signatures, waltz, 4/4, 6 forms like 5/8 and strange time signatures, and you can just use the major scales and even the chromatic scales, in other words, technical exercises, to practice those other things. Now, these exercises here have to go hand in hand, they must, with my muscles and tendon flexibility video. It's useless to start doing exercises without having already warmed up your hands. I've already done that. I've played it for about sort of 10 or 15 minutes, and my hand exercises as explained in the video linked here in the description below. So whenever you go and do exercises, don't start them with cold hands. I believe there was a pianist called, well, there was a pianist called Gould, who was a Bach interpreter, and I understand he used to put his hands in hot water. I mean, you may confirm that. That's just something I've picked my time in the piano world, that he used to put his hands in hot water to warm them up. I mean, that is a good idea if they're cold, but of course exercises also help with that. So don't jump into these straight away. I'll start with the first one, surprisingly. It can be done using the major scale or the chromatic scale. Now, in the literature of Liszt that I have read, which is genuinely extensive over the last 5.5 years, there's many, many things where you can really take information from the horse's mouth, from him. And one of them is this exercise. He said to one of his students once, so you can find Amy Faye's diary online. I suppose there's a link for that in the description below. And he simply said to her in passing, she wrote it down in her diary, that when there were periods of time where he wasn't playing concerts and he just needed to give his fingers a bit of a warm-up, he would do this dual finger exercise. It involves a combination of and it can be done in all 12 keys. So doing these technical exercises is not about speed, and it's not necessarily about learning major scales. It's simply about keeping your fingers on the piano and giving them a good workout. You might call these, in one of my other videos, I've talked about mastering the smaller components so that the larger things kind of take care of themselves. And this is a perfect example of that. Now, there is a freely available PDF online, which I printed a few years ago. It lists the sizes the list below, you can simply download it. And this has all the exercises which he used, and you can trust that they are reliable because they are from list. I think a few of the things I'm going to show you today come from that and are in it. So I'll show you the first one, and it's, so first of all, 2 hands, try to do them with your eyes closed. This goes hand in hand, like I say, with the muscle exercise video, and I've just thought about it, the one which is called Finding Your Natural Limit. It's pointless to just suddenly go into an exercise and just say, oh, I can't play it very fast. That's not the point. Technical exercises are not about speed. They are about your dexterity and a maintaining of your ability. It's not about speed at all. Speed is a byproduct of slow practice. You don't practice speed. Speed comes with steady practice, steady persistence. So this one is using combinations of fingers. Let's start on the C here. Why not? You can start anywhere, of course. And you're going to go over 2 octaves. You can go further if you want, but 2 octaves is fine. And that's all I can show you, really, without knocking the camera off. And so let me demonstrate what it is with the right hand, and then I'll do it with the left hand, and then I'll do them together. And what you're simply doing is using 2 fingers, and you're going up chromatically and or with the major scale at your natural speed. Your natural speed may be faster than mine, it may be slower than mine. It's not about speed at all. It's about your natural limit where you don't make mistakes, and you keep doing that. So all you're doing is chromatically going up using 2 finger combinations. So I'll start with the thumb and the index. Here I'm playing staccato. I have a video on staccato and legato. Articulation. Staccato is where there's a space between the notes, touching them like they are hot, like you're walking on hot coal. That's how I say it in that video. And then you can go down. And then you might use the next combination of index and middle finger. This is not going to be a video about me just playing exercises. I will be talking as well, and I'll just do it quickly. So, and then you can do them legato, which is where, as if you're skating on ice. So I'll do that with the middle finger and the ring finger. So this is not staccato. I hope it comes through the piano. So what I've done over the years, and that's why I'm able to do it now, is staccato, legato with those finger combinations. And then the final one, let's do it staccato with the ring finger and the little finger, normally the weaker fingers on most people. And you need to do a bit more action here because you need to, because your little finger is not physically long. So, you know, what I'm doing here is pushing my arm forward, coming back, going forward, coming back, stay, going forward, back, forward, back, forward, back, and then the same coming down again, if you can see that, up. So there's a bit of action that needs to take place with that particular exercise, but you'll find your natural position for that. And then, of course, we'll do them with both hands, and you can mix and match. So let's just do the left hand ring finger and middle finger, and my right hand, I don't know, index and middle, for example. So we mix them together. That's going a bit too fast there. And by doing these, you're actually enabling your fingers to work independently of each other, which goes towards the philosophy of hand independence, where you don't have two hands, you have just 10 fingers able to do the same things. Which fingers was I using? I think middle and ring in the left. So by doing these every day for just 10 minutes, just going up and down 1 or 2 octaves 3 or 4 times at a nice comfortable speed, that will really give you a lot of nimbleness in your fingers. So that's one of them. Now you can do that using major scales, and you can do that using not just 2 notes but 3. So let's just take again C major, and let's use the index, middle and ring finger, and we'll do it in 3s. And with the left hand I'll use, let's just say the middle, index and thumb on the left hand. And this I'm thinking at the same time. Now you are, what's happening here is that you can't concentrate consciously on doing this. I have an article on conscious interference, and that's where I'm saying that what that means is when you start thinking about doing more than one thing, it falls to pieces. If I have to think about each individual finger moving here, I need to think, okay, that one, that one, all move up there, and there, then play, move up there, feel. It's something that you have to really consciously think about, you see. Whereas if you just think about it and close your eyes and remove conscious interference and visual interference, you'll find that if you start at your slow, natural limit, that it will just get better. So I feel completely comfortable knowing that I'm not going to make a mistake because I'm not thinking about making a mistake. That's just an example. Let's just do something in the key of F, let's say, introduce a black note here. So let's do 3, I'll do my little ring and middle finger. So that's causing me to have to go up and then to put my little finger here, move up my arm for the ring finger up there, come back down until I finish on the F. That's the idea. Now the other one I like to do, I do with the metronome, and I do this quite often. I will just go from about 120 beats per minute, and I'll use all of the 5 fingers for the whole exercise. I'll start with my little fingers, ring fingers, middle, index, and then thumbs, because the thumbs do exist. And I will normally go over about 4 octaves for this one. And I'll start at 120, and I'll go up 4 octaves. I can't do that here, I'll just go up 2. Maybe 5 or 6 times, perhaps 10, depends how I feel, until it starts to ache at least. And then stop, move on to the next finger. Next finger, next finger, next finger. Increase the speed by about 20, so there's a discernible difference in speed. And then do it again. Increase the speed by 20, so I'll go 120, 140, 160. You can push up to 180. And do this exercise. Your finger tendons will burn, and that's a good thing. Aching is good, pain is bad. So I won't turn on the metronome because I've noticed in another video that there is a delay due to the VST, the sound engine, which the keyboard is going through. So there's a delay with the camera, with the microphone, and it doesn't really sound very nice when I record. So I'll just demonstrate it at slow speed. So what I'll do is start on the little finger. This is middle C. If I go 2 octaves, that's where the little finger is starting, the pinky for the Americans, is starting. And then 2 octaves above here, for this example, I'll put my middle finger on my little finger on middle C, and I will go up at about 120, which is 2 beats per minute. Like this. Now this might seem easy in the beginning. Really, I go up to an E when I do exercises, but you go up to a C, do what you wish. But you'll find that after maybe 3 or 4 times at a fixed speed, you'll really start to get a nice burn in your weaker arms, forearm, on the related sort of tendon line. Stop if it starts to hurt, but let it ache a little bit. Maybe just once it starts to ache, maybe put 1 more up and down, and that will be good. Then when you're done, sort of relax a little bit, move on to the ring finger, doing the same thing at 120. And again, this is not about speed, this is about making the things work. Middle finger, same thing, index, and then the thumbs. You might find the thumbs difficult like I did when I first started to do this, because when you're doing it with the thumbs, I noticed that I have a bit more wrist action. It's more like my wrists are playing than my actual thumb. If I keep my wrists solid still, I mean it's nice, but I feel naturally like I just want to kind of just gently, it's like I'm gently falling and pressing like a sponge against the note when I play with my thumb. There's a kind of like wave kind of action. For me, I may not have that, but I do. So it seems that my hand, my wrist plays the thumb rather than the thumb itself playing a note. So that's a nice exercise, and then I'll increase that speed, and so that's that one. And the final one is probably quite boring, but it really, really isn't. There's a story where some people wanted to listen to Liszt practicing because that would have been quite something to listen to, and they were really disappointed when they realised that all he does is go up and down major scales. and that's written somewhere in one of their memoirs somewhere that they tried to hear Liszt practicing, and he was just doing that. So major scales, and you'll also find that in this Liszt exercise book that most of the techniques are based on major scales and to do things with major scales. There's one exercise which is quite useful to do. This is not one that I would do all the time, but it's by taking every other finger, so thumb and middle, and then index and ring, and going up in alternating patterns. It's quite useful. That's not something that I've done for a long time, as you can see. So I might have inspired myself to spend some time on this. But that's good, because what I'm going to do is exactly what I tell you to do. I'll find my natural speed where it's not difficult, and I can do it somewhat with a bit of conscious thought. So that's probably it for me at this particular moment. And then I'll do that maybe 10 times without a mistake, increase the speed by 10, do it 10 times without a mistake, increase the speed by 10, do that for a few days, and then, within a week, I'll be able to do that probably quite fast, which I currently can't do, because I'm not chasing speed. So that's another little exercise which is in the book, so it's one to do. But the main ones, like I say, are to go up in 2s, or to go up in 3s, up major scales or the chromatic scale with both hands. So that's basically the focus of the video, is to do one of those combinations. And you'll find that your fingers will get very, very nimble. If you mix that with the arm muscle exercises and the finding a natural limits, you can only get better. The final thing I'd like to say is that technical exercises in themselves won't make you a great pianist. They'll make you a great technical exerciser. So you have to find a balance, as always, between repertoire and actually playing or composing or learning jazz songs and improvising, and doing technical exercises. And what I normally say in my water pianism philosophy, for example, I will say that acquire what you need when you need it. And that goes for anything, of course, that you're doing. So if you're learning a piece of music, like, I'm just thinking of, well, let's just think of the most famous piece ever written on the piano, the Beethoven Release thing. The only reason I'm thinking about that is because it has a piano technique, which is the open arpeggio, where you're basically playing the chord in an open style. And so if you can't currently play that piece of music, then spend some time acquiring that particular skill, open arpeggios, in all the keys, doing it in minors, doing it in major sevens, doing it in minor sevens, in all the 12 keys, you see, so that you get used to playing that way. And then when it comes to the piece of music, such as that sonata, that Release, you'll have quite a nice touch. I'm going to play this, but you'll have a natural feel for that kind of playing. That's the idea. You may be learning a song. I have a video on ragtime, for example, and so there may be a piece that you're learning which requires you to play a kind of this style where you play the bass with the little finger and you come up to play the chord. It may have you where you have to play jumps, and you may have a problem with that. So go away from the piece of music, find your natural limit, and just learn how to do jumps and get the feel in all the keys everywhere on the piano, and then doing it with minor chords. I'll go down here, going up to minors, D minor, E minor, F minor, G minor, for example, E minor, C minor. So you're acquiring what you need when you need it. So that's one thing. The second thing, of course, is to actually do these technical exercises as a way to maintain your dexterity. You'll never master technical exercises. There's no end to them. So don't think that it's something that you do and then you go and play the piano, because it doesn't work like that. Even Liszt, after 50 years, would still do his, dual finger exercise to prepare him for a particular concert that he might be doing. So do consider that as quite valuable advice. I'll stop there. Hopefully that's helped you a lot. A few comments would be useful if you have any questions, subscriptions, likes, blog, books, all that stuff. And thank you very much for watching. All the best, and bye for now.
Новогодняя коллекция роскошных ароматов от QIWI-Wallet. Получите эксклюзивный подарок по промокоду QIWI на сайте buyKIWI.com при покупке от 18 тысяч рублей.
Вот это есть. Стереосис, кажется. Маски, шоу, маски. Ну и что? Ну и что? И дальше что? Ну и... Зачем Octaves? Ладно.